All right, we're going to dive into something pretty unusual today. It's the cynical playbook, a sort of guide to the darker side of neighborhood conflict. And it frames the whole thing not as a personal squabble, but as a strategic real estate game. You know that feeling? It's unsettling. That little thought in the back of your mind when small annoyances start to feel, I don't know, coordinated. Well, the document we're looking at today takes that feeling and turns it into an actual step-by-step strategy. So here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into the whole mindset behind this so-called art. Then we'll look at its main weapons, rumor and proxies. We'll see how it targets specific everyday parts of a neighbor's life. And finally, we'll get to the ultimate goal of the whole operation. Okay, so let's start at the beginning with the core philosophy here. The source we're looking at presents itself as this collection of tactics that, let's just say, operate completely outside of normal business ethics, or any kind of social decency, really. And this is the key thing, the big idea to wrap your head around. According to this text, what might look like just random gossip or some petty vandalism, it's not random at all. It's actually part of a methodical, long-term campaign, and it's all designed to hit a very specific real estate goal. And this quote from the source, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? It's positioned as this secret, almost forbidden knowledge, like a dark art of war for your local neighborhood. The philosophy is brutally simple. Win by any means necessary. So how does a playbook like this actually work on the ground? Well, the primary weapon isn't what you'd think. It's not lawsuits or big, loud confrontations. It's rumor. Now, we're not talking about your average run-of-the-mill gossip here. The source describes what you could call strategic rumor. It's information, and it doesn't matter if it's true or false, that's deliberately deployed with a very specific purpose, to totally change how the community and even the police see a person or a property. And get this, the playbook actually lays out two totally different ways to use rumor. On the one hand, you have the offensive use. This is all about painting a target on someone's back. You just plant a nasty rumor, and according to this playbook, the community and the authorities will do the heavy lifting for you. Then, on the other hand, there's the financial angle, which is just bizarre. It's about boosting property value by making up some completely fake, positive story about a miracle or something. So you've got your weapon, rumor, but who's going to deliver it? This brings us to the next big principle of the playbook: using other people, or proxies, to do the dirty work. This way, the person behind it all maintains complete deniability. I mean, listen to this. This is another direct quote, and it's just incredibly cold and revealing. It cynically talks about these groups not as people, but as leverage. The text claims their involvement is strategic because, well, people are more likely to believe them, and it's more likely to get attention from both the public and the police. And the whole approach is layered. It's not just one group doing everything. No, the source assigns very specific roles. Women and children are cast as the main carriers of rumors and complaints. That's the soft power part of the operation. At the same time, other people, like maids or local servants, are given the job of direct, low-level harassment that goes on for months. Okay, so now let's see how all this theory gets put into practice. The playbook isn't just about general ideas. It gets super specific about what and who to target. According to this document, these are the key pressure points in a neighbor's life. Every single one is seen as a vulnerability, something that can be exploited with a specific set of tactics to create the most annoyance and distress possible. To really get a feel for how this works, let's just zoom in on one of these targets. The source lays out this disturbingly patient and methodical plan for dealing with a neighbor's car that you just don't like. Just look at how indirect and impatient this is. You never touch the car yourself. You just identify it. Then you create a story around it and spread that story among local kids. The goal is to make that car an object of intense focus for them. And the playbook claims that if you just wait, within 6 months, that focused attention will naturally lead to damage. It's a really chilling example of long-game manipulation. So after all of these layers, the rumors, the proxies, the targeted harassment, what's the point? Where is all of this actually supposed to be leading? Well, there's no mystery here. The source just states it, plain as day. The entire reason for this whole campaign of psychological stress and constant nuisance is to make someone so miserable, so deeply uncomfortable in their own home that they just give up and leave. To make them, and I quote, run from the locality. And here's what's so fascinating. The source itself basically gives you a checklist of warning signs. It's like it's saying, hey, if you're seeing these things, someone might be using these tricks on you. These are the exact tactics we've just been talking about, but now they're framed as the telltale signs that you might be the target of this very playbook. And that really brings us to a final big question. The text itself is short, but what it implies is huge. When everyday disputes, over parking spots or a barking dog, are seen through this kind of lens, this strategic warfare lens, what does that say about the unseen tensions that might be simmering just under the surface of our neighborhoods? It's definitely something to think about,